All right, time management. The thing everybody wants to talk about, but no one really wants to jump in. The thing that we think's our problem, but sometimes isn't the problem. It's that big neon sign that's flashing in front of your face, but it's not the underlining thing keeping it going. It's that problem that we think that we all need to address, but we do, to some degree, need to address our time management. But there's a lot of other factors that go into it besides just, I don't have time. I don't know how to make time. How does this work? Where do I go from here? And I want to talk to you a little bit about time management in regards to being a freelancer and working from home in any industry, realistically, just working from home, working around your schedule, being a mom, and figuring out, how do I do this? When do I do this? And how much time do I really have to get this done? So, to get started, you're probably going to want a piece of paper, or you're going to want to come back to this later and reference it and write out your notes for this, but it's going to be a little bit of work here as we're going to figure out how much time you have to actually freelance and what your day could actually look like realistically to get these things done, and then how to not overbook yourself, because been there, done that. We don't want to do it again. And create those boundaries around your time. So first things first, when it comes to time management, like we're jumping, right? We're not even like no intro, no nothing. We're jumping into this thing. Okay. First thing you need to do is, if you are a mom, you need to look at your kids' schedule. All right. What are those have to do's for your kids? Write them down. We're going to clean this up later. I don't care what it looks like right now. Just write them down. What time do they get up? What time do they go to nap? What time is lunch? What time is pickup? What time is drop off? What time is sports? What time? What? Write out your kids' times. All right. Then once you get their life kind of figured out and ironed out, and yes, I know it does change. I have 3 kids, 2 of them still nap. And then I have one who's in half day school. So I hear you. It's hard. You got to write it down though. Write down their schedule, their times that they're in right now, this season that you're in, right this moment, write those down. And then I want you to track your day a little bit here too. So, for example, what time do you wake up? What do you do first thing in the morning? When do you have breakfast? When do you start getting ready for school? What does that look like for you? What kind of time period do you have between breakfast and lunch? What are you doing? What are you doing between lunch and dinner? What are you doing between dinner and bedtime? What are you doing between bedtime for the kids and bedtime for you? Okay, so those are those brackets. Let's do it again. What are you doing when you first wake up in the morning until breakfast? What do you do from breakfast to lunch? What are you doing from lunch to dinner? And then what are you doing from dinner to the kids' bedtime? And then what do you do from the kids' bedtime to your bedtime? Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can just do an overarching, like, this is what we do every single day thing, or you can do it each day of the week. Okay, 3. I got 3. Or you can do it as a rotation thing. All right. So instead of saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we do these things, you can say every other day we do this. So we take a bath one day and the next day we don't. We do this instead. So however that looks like for you. Okay. Just write it out. Okay. Write out that schedule that way. And one of the key things that I'm going to point out here that you need to do is you need to write in your sleep. What time is your bedtime? Like legit, what time are you going to bed? What time do you get up? You need to be getting a certain number of hours of sleep every night. What is that? 7, 8? You know what works for you. I know that I need at least 7. I don't function well without 7. So what does that look like for you? What time do you have to go to bed? What time do you get up? Or let's reverse that. What time do you get up? Because if you're anything like me, your kids get up at a certain time and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just it. Like your day just starts when they get up. And that is traditionally 4:30 for me. We get up 4:30. So what time does your day start? Okay, now work backwards. What's 7, 8 hours from that? What time do you need to go to bed? Like in bed, asleep, done. Okay. Now, how much time do you need for your nighttime routine? An hour? Half hour? What does that look like? My whole point here, before we get to how much time do I have to work, is you need to be thinking about how much time you need for life. Okay. Because I don't want you to get burnt out. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I don't want you to violate your boundaries, right? I don't want you to sacrifice your family time, your self care, your personal time, your sleep to work right now. Right? Working is important. Yes, money makes the world go round. I get it. But if you're not here, what's the point? If you're not present, if you're not a parent, if you're not a spouse, if you're not yourself, if you're overwhelmed and stressed and tired and just not present, not there, like just empty, then what is the point? Okay. I've done it. Okay. I have done it. I've had the open availability where I did all the things and I didn't say no and I worked around the clock and it felt like I was always, always, always working because I was always connected to that laptop. I was always connected to my phone. I always had Voxer on. I was always available. And it was too much, right? It was burning out. My kids noticed, my husband noticed. Everyone's like, you're always working. And then I would go to submit hours or submit and review my time for that week. And like, I barely worked. Like, I only worked 20 hours this week, but it was a constant availability to do those 10-minute, 15-minute things. And it was burning me out and it was causing a strain, right? So create boundaries. Right. And this is where we start by knowing our schedule, knowing our availability, and where we're open to accept work time by looking at it. So, to recap, what's your kid's schedule? When do you need to wake up? When do you need to go to bed? What is that time frame right there? Like 7 to 8 hours of sleep, please. I do not want you telling me that you get 5 hours of sleep when you're just dandy. I don't believe you. You're lying to yourself. How much coffee or energy drinks are you having in the day? And really think on those pieces. All right. And then think about your day in total. And if you're sitting here, saying here, whatever, and you're looking at me and you're like, I don't know, freaking idea. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I just go through the day. I know when you have lunch around lunchtime and breakfast around breakfast time and they nap in the morning or the afternoon, like whatever. Okay. Track it. I want you to start a log, put it on your island, your kitchen, wherever your central hub is in your space that you are at. And I want you to start tracking it. Write it down. Okay, I'm feeding him lunch. What time is it? Oh, okay, we do lunch at 1. Okay, we do lunch at 11. Great, write it down. The next day, what time did you do lunch? The next day, what time did you do lunch? Okay, there's a pattern here. What can I do to do my best to maintain that pattern? We traditionally do lunch at noon. We traditionally do lunch at 1. Write it down. Okay. Start tracking your time if you're not sure what that looks like to get an idea of your schedule and where you're at. Because if you're coming into me and you're saying, I have no idea when I'm going to work, how I'm going to work, or how much time I have available, that's going to be my first question is what does your day look like? And to track your time if you're not too sure what that day looks like so you can understand your pockets of availability. Because if you are a work at home mom or a stay at home mom trying to get this work done, you have small pockets. You're not going to get 2-hour blocks, 4-hour blocks without help, right? You're going to get a 15-minute window here, a half-hour window here, a nap time window. Like that's the golden time right there, right? That nap time, that's when you get the work done. And really track those times. Okay. So at this point, you should have some sort of schedule in front of you that you can look at. So here's mine as a rough one for you, just kind of give you an idea. I start my day at 4:30 with my kids. That's when they get up. That's when we get up. And then between 4:30 and 7 in the morning, we do snacks, coffee, cuddles, Bible reading. I get dressed and ready for the day. My husband goes to work. That's between 4:30 and 7. My youngest will normally sleep until 5:30. So my older two get up at 4:30. She gets up at 5:30. She still gets a bottle, so there's some cuddle time there with her. So it's a little bit of mommy time, right? So slow mornings, cuddle. 7 o'clock, we do breakfast. My oldest needs to be We need to be in the car by 8:30 for my oldest to get to school, to go to school. And he goes to school half days. I get home from taking him to school. The younger two take a nap. They will traditionally nap from about 9:30 to 11:30, which is when we need to pack up in the car to go get my oldest from school. So 9:30, 11:30, that's 2 hours, right? So on a good day, that is an hour and a half of work time, which we're going to come back to. So let's see, 9:30 to 11:30. 11:30, we pick them up. We're home at noonish. We're doing lunch. And then it's afternoon activities, whatever that looks like for the day, from 1 until 3:30 when my husband gets home. And then it's family time and dinner, which is traditionally at 5. Dinner's at 5. So between 3:30 and 5, it's play, it's family, it's bath time if we take it before dinner. And then it's dinner at 5. And then between 5 and 7, it's bedtime routine. It's cuddles, it's reading books, it's taking a bath if we didn't take it before dinner because it's what I did that day. It's going for a walk, it's doing the things, whatever it is that we're doing. 5:30, 5 o'clock, dinner till 7, which is the bedtime for the kids. They go to bed by 7, which is kind of funny. My youngest will go to bed probably around 6:30. So between 6:30 and 7, they're in bed. I know, don't get mad at me. I don't know what I did to let this happen. I don't know why. Okay, I don't. But think about it. My kids go to bed at 7, but they're up at 4:30. So take the good with the bad. So then from 7 until 9 is mommy daddy time, and then 9 o'clock is bedtime. So that's a rough day in the life schedule for me. So when I look at that schedule, when I write it down on paper and I'm looking at my availability and my time, if I'm just counting nap time, I'm getting about an hour and a half to 2 hours, well, nap time and then afternoon time. So nap time, I'm probably getting an hour and a half on a good day of work time. That's solid, sitting at the computer working time. And then in the afternoon, from that 1 o'clock until 3:30, I will budget in about a half hour of me like working at the island while the kids are playing and, around time. So let's say 2 hours. So on a week that I do not have my mother-in-law or my mother to come over and help with the kids, that's 2 hours a day during the day. That's 10 hours. Not bad. Not bad. Now on the days or the weeks that I have a little bit of help, so my mother-in-law is very gracious and she comes over a couple times a week and will help out. Traditionally, she comes over to help me so that I can run errands or go to appointments because I'm still seeing like a pelvic floor person, which is awesome. So she'll help me with those, but she'll come over and help me when I have work meetings as well or coaching calls. So I budget in for that, let's say 1 to 2 days a week for when she comes over and helps me with those in the afternoon. So she'll come over around 11:30 and then stay till about 3:30. So on those days, I can get about 5 hours of work time in. So when we take that time in, and then if we add in 1 to 2 hours of work time in the evening or over the weekend, okay, I'm going to caveat this real quick. Do not work every single night. Do not work every weekend. I have really worked hard over the last couple months here to stop working every single night, to stop working every weekend, and to really limit it to how much I'm doing. So I allow myself to work between 2 and 4 hours in total between the evenings and the weekends. That's it. Okay. A really good week is when I don't feel the need to have to work in the evenings or on the weekends at all. That's a really great week. And I'm getting there, but I'm personally not there right now because of the nap schedules and kids being sick and whatever. My season right now. Okay. My season. So when I add all that up, that's between 10 and 20 hours a week when I add in my mother-in-law or my mother coming over to help a little bit, and then 2 to 4 hours in the evening if needed. So 10 to 20. I don't want to work more than 20 hours a week. That's my personal preference. Okay. This is just to give you an example of a schedule. So that's my availability. 10 to 20 hours a week. I'm available at nap time during this time. I'm available these days when my mother-in-law or my mother come over. And that's what this looks like. So how do I enforce this? My calendar. I have it on my calendar, my availability. So for example, I have 11:30 to 1 is school pickup and lunchtime, and it's blocked off. So my calendar link, you cannot book anything with me from 11:30 to 1 because I'm busy with my family and I'm doing drop off or pick up and I'm having mealtime with them or whatever. Same thing in the morning. My morning availability does not start until 10 o'clock. I give myself that buffer. So I'm not available for anybody until 10 o'clock in the morning because that's what it works for me. I don't want to push it and be anxious and rushing, trying to get the kids to nap, and they don't want to nap because, oh my goodness. So 10 o'clock. That's what works. And then in the evening, for people that get in contact with me to do podcast interviews and whatnot, I have one night a week open on my calendar for after 7:30. That's it. One night a week. By creating availability on my schedule, on my calendar, it's a lot easier to have those boundaries in place because you just send people your calendar link to schedule something with you. They see your availability. It's kind of the easy way to say no, that you are not available because your calendar is booked. And even if you're talking to someone or you're talking with a client, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm scheduled, I'm booked, or at that time, I'm not available. They don't need to know the reason. You don't need to tell them, oh, that's lunchtime with my kids, I'm not available. Because they might push you on that. And if you don't want to have that conversation and push back, you're not comfortable with that pushback of, well, no, this is important to me, I am not available. Then you can say that I'm booked at that time, I'm unavailable. I'm with another client. Your kids can be your clients. Why not? They're not paying you, but you can pay you in kisses. It's fine. You're not available, is my whole point. Okay. Block it on your schedule, those times. And let that be your thing. Like, oh, let me check my calendar. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not available at that time, but I am available on this day at this time, right? You can make compromises, right? You can adjust your schedule. You can do your things. It's your own right and your own power to do those things, but you get to make the decision, not them. And you have to set the boundaries, the premise. You need to set the rule on what that looks like. All right. If you make an exception, you need to make it known that that was an exception that you made, and this is not something that is of your normal schedule. You are not always going to be available. Like, hey, this is dinner time. You're having a lunch. I know you're having a lot going on. Yes, I will be available for this event only. But in future, I will not be available. Or in future, I would like to discuss how I can better support you outside of that time frame. Or maybe that time thing needs to be moved. Different conversation for a different day. But my whole point is to let your schedule help you in understanding what your availability and your time looks like. So that way, when you're looking at your schedule and you're looking at your time, you're like, okay, this is how much time I have for the week that I can work, block it off. I'm not telling you to do time blocking and saying that this is what you're working on in those times, but just know that this is work time. Okay. Because my schedule is constantly changing. My kids are growing, things are changing, nap schedules. You know how it goes, up and down, up and down. Kids are sick, they have school, they don't have school. It changes. Okay. You want to reevaluate your schedule. You want to reevaluate your availability every couple months, every quarter, if that's easy for you to remember, and just relook at it, reevaluate where are you at, what are you doing? And then make your adjustments, adjust your calendar, adjust your availability, adjust your hours, right? They're going to go up, they're going to go down. It's not a big deal. It's when you're not aware of it and you can't keep up that it becomes a problem. When you think you need to be doing all of these things and you can't figure out why you can't get it done. And then you look at your calendar and you're like, oh, it's because the kids have been sick. Oh, it's because it's been the holidays. Oh, it's because. So just think on it for a minute and really understand what your schedule looks like. Okay. My last point with this was when you're looking at your calendar and you're like, oh my gosh, I can work 20 hours a week. That's awesome. Do not book yourself for 20 hours a week with your clients. Don't do it. Give yourself a buffer, give yourself room, right? You need to work on your business. You need to work on your personal financial situation. You need to pay your bills. You need to do doctor's appointments. You need to do things. You can't book out every free minute of your day to work for your clients. Okay. You need to have a buffer for you. So if you have 20 hours a week, 15 hours can go to your clients. That other 5 is a buffer. Okay. That's for you. That's for life. That's for doctor's appointments. Okay. Because what's going to happen is you're going to overbook yourself. You're going to say, oh, look at that. I have 20 hours that I can give to my clients. And then you're trying to understand why you don't have time to take your kid to their well check, or why you don't have time to go see your pelvic floor person, or why you don't have time to go meet a girlfriend for lunch, or go shopping on a random Tuesday to buy groceries because you didn't do it over the weekend. And why would you when you have the availability to do it during the week? So really, really, please do not give every last minute of your time to your clients. Have a boundary and realize that you need to be able to do other things as a mom, as a wife, as yourself, right? Who are you outside of these roles? And do those things. But create a schedule, create an outline of your time so that way you can see it and you can better support yourself in knowing whether or not you're available or not, knowing whether or not you can do that work, or you can say yes or no to certain things. Because you looked at your time, you looked at your schedule, you looked at the things that were important first, right? Your family, your kids, yourself. You looked at those things first and then said, okay, this is what works. Because if you're like me, you started your business to be with your kids, to be with your family, to be present, to be home, right? If you were just in this to make money, just go back to corporate. You just go do whatever else you did before. But that's not what you're interested in. You're interested in a different type of lifestyle. So don't let yourself get pulled back to that old way of thinking and telling yourself you need to work 9 to 5, you need to work 40 hours a week. That's not why you're here. You're here to go play in the sandbox in your yard, to go for a walk, to go to the park in the middle of the day, to go to Target on a random Wednesday morning. You're here to have a better balance, to know who you are in and outside of motherhood, in and outside of business. So don't let it run you. Don't let it decide what you're doing and how you're doing it. Okay. Kind of seems like that was a lot, but I think you can handle it. If you have questions or if you want to share your schedule with me, or you're writing your schedule and you're like, I can't find my time. I don't know what my time looks like. That's fine. Send me a DM on Instagram at the address array and let's connect. Let's talk it over. I would love to help you figure that out and figure out where your time's at, what you need to do. Where are those nooks and crannies that you have? Because if you're anything like me with 3 kiddos at home, you only got 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. So what do? You got to be able to go and get that thing done. What does that look like? What do you need to be doing? So you're lost. You need clarification. You need help getting through it. Send me a DM. Let's connect. Let's get you figured out so that you can start being productive, profitable, and have boundaries, and happy and excited and ready for summer. Like, hello, you need to be able to go to the beach during this summer and not worry about working in your business. So let's get this figured out. Let's get your time figured out so that way you can enjoy summer a little bit here as it's around the corner. All right. We'll talk next time. Don't forget, you got this.